Hi everybody, I'm David Smith. I'm the Executive Director for the Entrepreneurial Accelerator Program that is part of the Biomedical Research Foundation, which is straight down Kings Highway at the intersection of Kings and Mansfield. All right, so we're right down there as our Intertech park, and with me today is one of our senior analysts, Nick, and Nick's one of the guys that really does a lot of the work in our accelerator. Okay, now our accelerator has been in business for about 5 years, and our goal is to help startup, innovative companies launch their companies in Shreveport and stay in Louisiana. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the competition. We'll basically go over what are the goals, why are we involved, what's the prize, which is really what y'all are here for, okay? And then kind of, you know, what the pitches will be like, and then the rules, and then I think they're going to go through how do you actually submit, what are the things you have to actually submit.
Oh boy, now let me hit the lights.
Yeah. So when you look at Louisiana right now, and the ecosystem here in Shreveport, you would think, now you probably know this because you've played in the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Shreveport. We're really about education. And there actually are multiple places that you can get help and support within our system. Of course, EAP is the only accelerator in Shreveport. CoHab is our partner. They're an incubator. And then you have the state agencies, the Chamber of Commerce, the state of Louisiana, and your academic institutions. And of course, the biggest startup event in Shreveport is the Louisiana Startup Prize, which is done once a year. There's 2 to 3 competitive sessions you go through. There's a down select, and then boom, you're on. So there's a lot, and our goal is to help grow that entrepreneurial ecosystem because we want young people like you to start and launch your business in North Louisiana and stay here. And that's why we teamed with Centenary and 5 other universities to make sure that they have entrepreneurial startup competitions at all of the universities. So our goal is to promote student ideas. We want student participation. We want you to network with your industry experts in your field. We want you to go through that process, okay, and get feedback on how did you do on your startup? What's your idea really like? You know, some of them will work, some of them won't. All right. Our job as an accelerator is to help de-risk that opportunity and help the entrepreneur be successful. So the prize money, there's about $4,500 in prize money. First prize will be $3,000. Second prize will be $1,000, and then third place. Okay. And if you place in that, okay. Everybody gets to participate in Louisiana Startup Prize. I think there's a $50 fee, but if y'all participate, we're going to award scholarships. Okay, so that if you're interested in participating in the Startup Prize, you get an opportunity to do that because we do partner with the Startup Prize. What's my team like? I don't do a lot of the work. I'm the executive director. The real work gets done by Julie, Karen, and Nick, okay? They actually sit down when you walk into us and you got an idea. Now, here's the interesting thing about our accelerator. Some people walk in with their idea on a napkin. I've seen a 2-page business plan, and I've seen somebody that went to Austin and paid a venture capital firm $75,000, and they had a 100-page glossy business plan. Now, that's impressive. Don't get me, that's nice, okay? But I would tell you, don't invest $75,000 in that business plan until you know exactly what you're doing. So we've seen them all. We do all industries, all types of products, services. If it is new and innovative, we like to work with them. Now you're going to have mentors.
Yes, these we are structured this program to have formal mentors, and if you look at the bottom there, you can see they're not all business people. There's a couple that are with Luke and Matt, and Archer are more of the business perspective, but then you've got Trina, who's a lawyer, and then Dr. Chu, who's a surgeon, professor, and then Dr. McPherson, psychiatrist. So we have a lot of different
Yeah, you got a pretty big mix.
perspectives in our mentors.
That's good, that's good. It takes everybody, okay? You'll find when you start putting together your team in your venture, okay, having a very broad perspective of advisors and team members really helps you from that standpoint. So the final pitch, the judges will be myself, Dr. LeBlanc, there'll be representatives from the local businesses, and at least 2 faculty members. So there'll be a scorecard, all right? You'll come in, you'll give your pitch, we'll ask a few questions, and then we're gonna score you, okay? And then we get together, total them up. Afterwards, I think we're gonna have an award ceremony. In this case, that afternoon, we're gonna make the awards, okay? You gonna pick up on this?
This is you.
Okay, so any student that's enrolled at Centenary, okay, can participate. We ask that if you're gonna have a team, keep it to not more than 4. Because if you had 6 people on your team, it'll be hard for you in that time limit to get 6 people to contribute. All right, 4 is manageable, but a lot of them will not, get to participate as much. And then you gotta attend everything to be considered for the final prize. Okay, so you just can't come here today, get the handout, figure out how to submit it, and not show back up. Okay, and that's because we want you to get some value out of what we're going to provide.
Yeah, so general requirements for the competition has to be your original work. Can't be copycatting anything. That's pretty self-explanatory, hopefully. If the business currently exists, if you maybe have started the business already, I know in some of our previous competitions we've had folks that have actually already started whatever their business idea is. That's okay. We just ask that it's been in operations less than a year. That way you can kind of be in the process of figuring out like maybe what your initial problems are or what your initial challenges are so that we can address those in the time that we have. No funding prior to the competition. We ask that you didn't receive any investment prior to coming to us. At least one team member must be a Centenary student. Dave mentioned that up to 4 people per team, but only one of those has to be a student. So if you have somebody else on your team, or if you've already started a business with maybe a friend from high school or another person in the community, that's perfectly fine. And no vice-related businesses, so no marijuana or gambling-related. So
I'll tell you, one of the other competitions that we did, one of the finalists had already started a business. He sold his business recently, okay, and now has launched another one. So we're going, that's awesome.
So here's the kind of the schedule of things, and I think you'll have a copy of this. So initial applications due February 8th, as well as attendance to all the workshops into January, middle of February the 13th, and then 2 weeks later on the 27th. And we'll go through in a second what all these will entail. They'll kind of build upon one another. It'll be everything from how to structure your pitch deck to how to build a financial model to really just how to pitch and how to kind of be seen and heard in the time that you have. Your final submission is March 14th, and if you make the top 5, you'll be notified, and you can pitch on April 13th for some cash. So. There. And the mentoring schedule, Dr. LeBach posted this link, so if you want to schedule that, you can. Mentoring dates are January 30th, February 8th, the 21st, and March 14th. So deliverables. This is what we're going to talk about at all the just work sessions over the coming weeks. Like we said, the initial application with the canvas and the questionnaire will be due on February 8th, just before midnight, and then the final submission after the workshops, where you actually learn how to do all these deliverables, will be due March the 14th. And like we said, financial model, basically showing us how your business is going to make money, how long it's going to take to make money. Lean canvas, really putting your full business on one page so that you can see who you're going to target as customers, who your competition is going to be, the way you're going to make money and how much money you're going to make and how really supply chain. I mean, really everything that can be thought of with a business will be laid out on that lean canvas. And we'll learn about how to structure one of those. One-page executive summary. This is so that if you do pitch to investors, if you do go up in front of a panel of people to ask for money, like you will be doing here, you'll have a leave behind for them. That's what the executive summary works as. And it's basically just one page with all the pertinent information relative to your business, how much money you're raising, what your business proposition is, what the value of your business is, and all sorts of things like that. Pitch deck, basically all the information that's on an executive summary in a PowerPoint format that you present to potential investors. Video pitch, 2 minutes or less. So really, basically an elevator speech. Everybody's probably heard of an elevator pitch at some point in their life. That's basically what that's going to function as. So we'll ask you guys to prepare one of those as well. And for resources relative to the competition, go to centenary.com, centenary.edu/CenTank, and register, as well as find the schedule of events and final submission resources.
Yeah, any questions on kind of the schedule and the process for Nick or Dave?
Yeah.
'Cause
Now's your time to ask before you get into the class. Yes, sir.
A lot of us in here are athletes, and so how hard are those? Because I do really want to try to be to all the meetings, but I don't know if might be at a swim meet or.
On the 13th, I'll be out of town somewhere.
Yeah, my response would be do your best, try to get at least one team member here. If you're the solo team, not team, we will be video recording,
Okay,
and you can
good.
catch up.
Yeah, if it's school related, we understand,
Mhm.
okay? But your best friend's girlfriend's, birthday party probably does not qualify.
Yes, sir, I completely understand, but
Any other questions? Because what I wanted to show you next, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Nick, is how you can access the Canvas course, because I've gotten a couple questions about that already. You're fine. So what I want to do, just let you know that if you go to, Centenary has a webpage called CenTank. And if you go there, this is what it looks like. Well, and this is kind of hard to see, but this is the register now. So if you click on that, you're going to see something that looks like this. Well, here, let me show you. Oop, I actually brought it up. Let me minimize this. Okay, so you can probably see it better now. But if I clicked on this register now, do you see it's open enrollment. You just have to add your username and your password. So if I do that, I go right into the Canvas course. All right, so you don't need, you don't need a special enrollment code or anything like that to get in there. Now, once I'm in there, okay, I'm going to go to the course, and here's the CenTank application. Now, I do have hard copies of these for you to look at. Pass these out. Dave, can you just?
Sure, absolutely.
So this is built, it's more like an application where it's going to ask you one at a time to answer some of the fields, okay? So what we'd like to do is to ask you to put your information in Canvas. But again, that application that you see in front of you has all the questions. But you'll be asked and prompted one at a time for you to enter your responses in there, just one per team, okay? So that's how you get into it. Once you're done, you'll be able to re-access it and change information again. You can just go in there, put what you know in now. You can access it again and update it as we go along. So this is what's due February 8th. So I'm going to let you just take a look at that application, and then if you have any questions, Nick probably has the answers.
Yeah, I can answer them.
But Nick, are there any spots where you've noticed in the past there've been kind of sticky points or questions?
As far as like the application process or the competition as a whole?
The application specifically.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes some folks have an initial question on like question 10, primary transaction type, business to consumer, B2B, B2C. If you guys aren't familiar with that, that's basically just like who your customer is. As a business to consumer, that'd be like Amazon straight to your doorstep kind of thing. Business to business is like a restaurant supplier, like that business buys from another business. Business to government, that's a little stickier. That's basically doing government contract work, something like that. And then there's consumer to consumer, which is, how would you describe consumer to consumer, Dave?
Like eBay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So basically like an intermediary, kind of like eBay or something like that would be for that. So sometimes people have some issues with that. Number 12, IP.
Yeah, if you don't have to have intellectual property, but if you're really serious about it, I mean, if you have this business and you're gonna start it and you have intellectual property, or you think you have intellectual property, then list it, okay? It makes it a lot easier for everybody.
So a patentable idea, some sort of trade secret, or something like that. Can't be
And
like,
software is not patentable,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So a lot of people come to us and say that, and we go, don't think so. Might
Your
be
mom-
trademarked.
Your mom's
Okay.
chocolate chip recipe is not patentable.
That's correct.
You
That's-
can't patent recipes. I
You're
learned
going
that
into the
last
cookie
week,
business.
actually.
You're going in the cookie business. That is not the case.
Yeah, and be sure to keep a copy of this on record, because it'll be a big tool for you when you start filling out all these other deliverables, because I mean, some of the stuff we ask for is some of the stuff you're going to have to convey to a potential investor. So what's your problem? What's your solution? Your unique value proposition? All that stuff any good potential investor or judge in this case is gonna want to know. So
For the 3 key metrics to measure the business performance, are you looking for like financial statements and?
just yeah. So for that, like if you're selling like a product, units sold will be a key metric for you, or if you're targeting like advertising, I know one of theirs is click-through rates. Like
Right.
there's a metric for whatever industry. Just thinking about
Down,
what goes
you know,
on.
if you're giving it away free, you know, if you've got an app, you're trying to get people to do it, okay, downloads.
Downloads,
You're gonna
yeah.
count downloads, okay? But don't do vanity. What I would tell you on the metrics, don't give them vanity metrics that really don't have any real meaning to the business, okay? Perfect example would be number of times somebody sent you a question, okay, from your webpage or something like that. Okay, what does that have to do with the business, all right?
Yeah, and it's one thing if you can convey that into how it relates to like sales or revenue, but just mentioning a metric isn't going to have any context around whatever your business is. So I know a lot of times like social networks, or if you've ever looked at an ad campaign on Facebook, it'll say like how many people viewed your ad. Well, that in and of itself doesn't tell you anything. How many people viewed your ad and then bought your product? That's relevant.
That's a meaningful number.
Because if that's 100 for every purchase, then that's a metric. Just seeing 1,000 views doesn't really tell you anything. Does that make sense?
Customer retention rate is a real metrics,
Yeah.
okay? Because especially if you're losing, you're gonna wanna know, okay, what did it take for me to acquire a customer? And then how many of them do I retain? Because then you can do the math and go, holy cow, I'm spending $1,500 to get one customer. I can't survive that way.
So we can go specific with it, like cost of goods sold, rather than just like putting down the balance sheet to.
Well, if you want to do that for this exercise, sure. I mean, we're going to ask you to build some like a basic financial model, which financial model, not to get too far in the weeds, is going to be income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, right? So you're gonna have to do some of that in the competition anyway. But if you want to mention that again, that's perfectly fine.
Can I just take a quick poll for those of you? How many of you are doing a product? And how many of you are doing a service? About half and half? Anyone doing both?
I'm gonna try to it's a little in between.
About half and half?
Cool.
Okay, what else?
Any other questions about the competition in general? Just like,
You mentioned that there's a scoring at the final presentation. What are the main things you're looking for in the final presentation? Like not to try and get.
How, you know, what really scores well is if the business hasn't launched, okay, it's your in-depth knowledge of what your proposal is, what your offering is, and how well you communicate that. If you're 5 to 6 slides deep and nobody knows what you're really selling, you got a problem, okay? And I've seen that, okay? Spend all the time talking about the market and an opportunity, and then everybody kind of stands around going, what's he selling? What is this really about? You know, you definitely don't want that to be the case.
yeah, and chances are if you get to the top 5, all 5 are going to have pretty decent ideas at least, because that's what most of them are going to be at this stage, is just ideas. So at that point, your ability to communicate your message and communicate your value and tell that story around, okay, here's the problem, here's my solution, here's how I'm going to do it, and here's how much money I'm going to make, is going to be crucial to your success, I think.
But part is content, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah,
Content,
absolutely.
Very
Yeah,
important,
right.
but then also,
Content and selling you the product.
and the presentation of that content.
Absolutely. Because you're gonna make an ask, okay, in this. You're gonna estimate what you need to launch, and you're gonna make an actual ask
Okay.
in this.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't match, if you're asking for $5 million, okay, and we don't understand what you're gonna do and what you're gonna do with all that, it's probably not gonna go well.
So this is a really good representation of Shark Tank, where we're actually trying to get.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
absolutely. You're gonna go all the way down. Now, do you have to have deal terms? No. Okay, I don't think, I don't think anybody's gonna drill you on that on deal terms, like they do in Shark Tank.
But a reasonable representation.
A
of what
reasonable
you'll need.
representation
Yeah.
of that is,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
When we ask for, like, money to get it started up, does that have to be within, the $3,000 or like?
No, absolutely not. Got nothing to do with that. That number is directly related to your milestones that you come up with, and I can't say that enough, okay? And what do you have to launch the business? So if you really and truly, if you ask for $5 million and really and truly you only need $1 million, okay, there's a disconnect, and you probably, the judges are going to see it from that. So you're trying to make this as real and as accurate as you possibly can.
Yeah, and the rewards are just like icing on top of the cake. That's just, that's a reward for you for doing well in the competition.
Okay.
And if you want to pursue that outside of our competition, that's when you start really trying to raise money and really pitch to investors. So.
So are we asking for money, or are we proposing an evaluation where we are also giving up equity in this?
You can if you want to go that way. If you want to go through and develop your valuation of the company, but be prepared if you do that. If you stand up there and say my company's worth $3.5 million and you don't have a patent or sales to back it up, okay, how'd you get? My hand's going to go right up. How'd you get to 3.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's
'Cause
not crazy.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And I'm really asking that question because I really want to see how you got there.
Yeah.
Okay, was it just a guess? Okay, or
Right.
did you do the math to back it up? If you did a discounted cash flow, okay, and you flash it up, I'm going to be impressed.
Yeah, that's not unreasonable for a startup that has a great idea that's patentable and protectable, but you still need to have some methodology with how you got there, whether it's the scorecard method or GCF or any other methodology that's out there for valuing an early stage business. Because that's what they're doing on, I mean, speaking of Shark Tank, that's what they're doing on Shark Tank. You know, when he asked Mark Cuban for $100,000 for 10% of his business, he's implicitly saying that his business is worth $1 million, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? You have seen what, 3, 4 college presentations this year so far?
3 so far
3.
this year. You'll be number 4 and ULM will be number 5.
Okay. So can you generalize as to what have been the strengths of those presentations and maybe what tended to be the challenges, just to give us a little heads up?
I think generally speaking, if you have a good, like I said a little earlier, if you have a good idea and then you can convey that idea effectively, you got a good shot, you know. Because if you make it, I mean, we had, I can't really remember how many we had in Northwestern. We had like 40 or
40,
50 applications. So if you made the top 5 there, you probably had a good idea. So at that point, the differentiator was how you conveyed that idea, and how you kind of communicated, okay, we're a team of 3, this is what I'm going to do, this is my strengths, this is this person's strengths, this is what they're going to do, and kind of, like Dave said, the milestones with which we're going to accomplish those goals and how we're going to do it, that's going to set you apart.
Yeah. I would agree.
What would you say the opposite? What would you say the weaknesses would be?
Well, the first one is you're just not prepared. You don't have the in-depth knowledge of your offering. If you're offering a product, okay, and you don't have any idea, and this is a real case, okay, you don't have any idea how you're going to manufacture it, okay, I mean, you're just up there swagging, okay, there's no place to hide, okay, and I've seen that. So have some idea, okay? Think it through how you're going to manufacture it. Now, does your pricing have to be perfect? No, okay, because you don't know yet, all right? But not to have any idea how you're going to produce it, okay, is not the way to go.
Have you done any international companies?
We have.
From students?
Yes, absolutely. I was really floored at Grambling. Over half of the participants were actual international students.
Oh.
I
Okay.
think the winners were all international.
Yeah, and the winners were a three student team, all international. And maybe, you know, I can't even begin. I don't know how many international students they have at Grambling, but about half of them are international.
Yeah, and their winning idea was a software platform that streamlines the college application
College
process.
application system.
So
Just
that,
fill it in one time.
Yeah.
Okay, and then boom, it goes all to all 5 of the schools that you pick. Okay. So
for one price.
for one price. It's okay.
I think the LSU there was a winner from LSUS last year who was international too. Did he win for the? His business was actually international. You know, with
The coffee. Was it the coffee guy?
well, that was at LSUS this year, but
Yeah.
the egg deal.
Oh yeah, he placed second. Was the one he placed second. It was an LSU grad student from Maryland, okay, and he had a social impact business where he felt like if he got a large number of chickens in Haiti, and Haiti's just one example, okay, that just delivering those eggs to the population would increase the nutritional value of what the children were getting. Okay, well, you look at that and go, well, holy cow, that doesn't sound that complex. But when you start, shipping poultry or eggs internationally, all of a sudden it gets real complex. And then you start hatching them and raising them and everything. He had it down. He proved it. He got them there. He raised them. They were delivering eggs to the population, and then they ran out of money. Okay, which told us, well, maybe this idea is not sustainable. Okay, so be careful. I mean, it was good. I love social, social impact,
And his value
entrepreneurship.
was, I don't know if y'all read much about like the aid, like not AIDS, the disease, but like aid crisis. Like, so when a country gets hit by a natural disaster, there is tons of aid that is thrown into the country, but there's really no basis for it after a certain period of time. They just keep sending it, and it's actually detrimental to the economic development of that country because it doesn't allow for people to like create their own businesses again because they're just getting basically supplemented with.
Yeah, you're really hurting somebody.
Yeah, you're
that-
hurting people's business by sending them tons and tons of rice, whereas the rice farmers are saying, hey, why don't you buy it locally and create income for me as opposed to just getting it from.
Yeah, and that's another thing. There's nothing wrong with a social impact startup. We see a lot of them. People that want to change the world, that have a good idea, that can have impact. There's nothing wrong with it. People go out and raise money every day,
Yeah.
okay, to
Like
get
the
those
Tom's
things.
model, 1 for 1, or something like that, and there's even companies now that are doing like, they're giving away something that's not the same thing as their actual product. Like one of the bed manufacturers that like direct to consumer bed manufacturers like plants a tree every time you buy a mattress. So it's like stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
um,
really big.
It's
yeah.
impact driven things that because people are more conscious about that, they see that as value for that brand. So it's almost a form of marketing for them. They put it in marketing dollars and say, okay, we'll plant a tree. And it does benefit. So
Nokia doing every time you buy one of our cars, we'll donate $500 to
Sure.
charity.
Absolutely.
It's the same kind of, it's
Absolutely.
goodwill kind of stuff, so
yeah.
Yeah. Works.
it's not bad to think about.
Do you think though that, like that triple bottom, what they say is like the triple bottom line is when you look at making money in a more socially donatable space, let's just say it has economic and social, it's meeting economic and social needs, it's more mission driven versus return on investment driven, because in terms of that sustainability, it's really hard to find maybe that pocket where you're hitting all three of those or two of those goals. I mean, have you seen like a really good idea that really is sustainable from an economic and social perspective? It's kind of tough because
Yeah, it is kind of tough, especially, that's a tough line to walk. And I'm big on the return on investment side, okay? It's hard to raise money. It's hard to get that opportunity to get in front of an accredited investor, okay? And if there isn't the return on investment and you're leaning more towards the social impact, it's twice as hard to raise money. You've got to do your homework and know who you're targeting for that investment. If there's a special interest group, that's an investment group that's special interest, okay, that's probably who you're going to go after. You're not going to go to Silicon Valley, okay, and pitch a bunch of accredited investors, there that, want to invent the next Facebook, okay, on something like that. You're probably not. You're going to do a lot of pitches, okay, if you're going down that path.
Yeah, and ultimately it has to be about the investor getting paid back, right? I mean, that's not charity, that's why if you want charity, that's why all these family offices have charitable arms to their operations, and they're ultimately worried about getting their money back at a certain multiple, and if you can do that while making at least a little social impact, okay, that's a cherry on top, but ultimately they want to see that they can exit at a 6x multiple or 10x multiple of what they invest in you, so.
what else? Anything else? Guys good?
Yes, ma'am.
You all right? All
Let's
right.
give David and Nick a hand.
No, we'll give y'all a hand.
They are our sponsors, by the way. They did donate the prize money, so thank you very much. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to stay here and work with your team on your application, or you're free to go. Thank you all.